Hi, it's Ms. Hurst from Hamilton County Schools. We're going to continue our work with Al Gore's Nobel Prize speech today. If you want to, go ahead and do this warm-up. Looking at the text we read yesterday, find one line that summarizes the author's purpose in giving this speech. So what we're going to do today is we are going to analyze specific appeals made in a text to serve the author's purpose. So what you need to know is that a persuasive speech is a work of nonfiction, and that presents a series of arguments to convince people to think or act in a certain way. Anytime you're seeing a persuasive speech, the purpose is to convince the audience of one thing or another. So when you read or listen to a persuasive speech, you need to be alert to the use of these persuasive techniques, then decide whether a particular technique is reasonable and relevant, and whether or not that persuades you to accept or act on the author's idea. So we have three types of appeals we're going to look at today. We're going to look at appeals to authority, which use the statements of experts and well-known people, because we're likely to believe it if a well-known person or expert says it. Appeals to emotion that use words that convey strong feelings, or appeals to reason, which use logic and facts to convince us. So hopefully you guys came up with the purpose of the text today is to convince the reader / audience that something needs to be done about climate change. So we're gonna, I'm gonna show you guys just 3 examples of these appeals, and then you're gonna take some time to find some more examples. So the first example of appealing to authority that I found was in paragraph 7. If I can find paragraph 7. So he immediately says, the distinguished scientists with whom it is the greatest honor of my life to share this award have laid before us a choice between 2 different features. So I'm going to that was in paragraph 7. I'm going to make my font smaller just so that you guys can actually see it all on one page. So how does this serve the author's purpose of convincing the reader that something needs to be done about climate change? Well, using scientists proves that experts agree something has to be done. So we're more likely to believe that something has to be done because scientists say something has to be done. Now we're going to look at logic and reason, which is facts, right? We're just looking at facts. So this line here in paragraph 8, it's just straight up facts. So he says, there's hopeful news. We have the ability to solve this crisis and avoid the worst of its consequences if we act boldly, decisively, and quickly. So Gore lays out a plan that can actually make a difference, appealing to reason, right? Without a plan, without knowing that we can actually make a difference, there's no logic in continuing this idea. And then the emotions, this really gets to my emotions, this line. So today we dumped another 70 million tons of global warming pollution into the thin shell of atmosphere surrounding our planet as if it were an open sewer. So using strong words like open sewer to describe our atmosphere appeals to our emotions, making us more likely to agree that something needs to be done. So I've given you an example of authority, logic and reason, and emotions. I want you to take the time, find another example of each type of appeal. So that's authority, logic and reason, and emotions. Pause me while you find another type of each appeal. Another appeal to authority that I found was in paragraph 13. It's talking about a study done by the new U.S. Navy. It says scientists reported. So again, we're going back to those scientists. Another line that really got to my sense of reason was paragraph 35. We must abandon the conceit that individual, isolated, private actions are the answer. They can and do help, but they will not take us far enough without collective action. That's just facts. We cannot do this alone. We have to work together. It's telling me that there are specific actions that need to be done. And then in paragraph 42, we must understand the connections between the climate crisis and the afflictions of poverty, hunger, HIV, AIDS, and other pandemics. So by connecting the climate crisis to another hot button issue, Gore effectively makes the audience have the same visceral reaction to the climate crisis as they would to like an illness like HIV, AIDS. So I think he uses strong language there on purpose. All right, what I want you guys to do is, after analyzing Gore's persuasive techniques, I want you to write a paragraph to answer this question. Do you think he tended to use relevant and reasonable techniques, or were his examples less supportive than they were tactical? So those appeals that he used, did they help his argument, or were they just there to kind of trick us? So go back and look at your examples. And this is your exit ticket. So I would make sure you include some of your appeals in this exit ticket. Once you're done with that, you are good to go. Have a wonderful rest of your day.